So, hi, welcome to another episode of Inspired Good Fat Life. We're all in kind of a, I don't know, crazy mood today, I guess.
A little giddy, maybe?
Yeah, a little giddy. There's a big storm coming, and so it's got the energy on high alert. And it's all good, right? It's all good. I want to just first remind you of our magazine, Good Fat Life. And it's full of wonderful articles and inspiration and motivation, as well as some great, highly curated information on nutritional things and good fats. And I'm really excited to introduce my guest today, Mr. Jim Gilligan from Snedicor Cleaners, and he's been such a supporter and advocate for all things good fat. And welcome.
Oh, Sherri. It's awesome being here.
Yeah, it's so Jim and I have had lots of conversations around how Snedicor's Cleaners dovetails really into living a good fat life, and just we like to say fat as fat food, F-A-T, and fat life as P-H-A-T, right? Good fat life. Yep. And there's so many nuances or elements, components to the work that you do, and how it helps me take better care of myself and my environment. And so let's just kind of start there, Jim.
One of the core principles of Snedecor's is the sustainable dry cleaning. And, you know, you hear the word dry cleaning, you think of chemicals, and we're using the GreenEarth method of dry cleaning, which is completely different chemistry from the petrochemicals that most cleaners use. And our dry cleaning solution, the GreenEarth solution, is actually made from liquefied sand, silicon dioxide. So it's a silicon-based solvent versus one of the petrochemicals that most of the other 90% of the other cleaners use. And it's been used in health and beauty aids for decades and decades. We've been using it. It's in cosmetic, you know, everyone listening to this could very possibly be wearing some of it now in cosmetics, deodorants, and so on. It's in things like dye gel tablets, kinds of products. And it's been proven to be, completely safe for humans, for contact, and for breathing. Yeah.
So there's a couple things that you said that let's dive into a little deeper. So one of them is sustainable, and so we'll save that for a second. And then the other thing is, why should people care about what their clothes are being cleaned with?
Well, the solvent that is still used by most cleaners, probably 70% of cleaners, are using a solvent called perchloroethylene. And perchloroethylene is a chlorinated solvent that actually the fumes are toxic.
Right, and they stay on your clothes, right,
well,
when they come home.
Most organizations suggest that when you bring your clothes home from a cleaner's using that you actually hang them outside, take the bag off, hang them outdoors or in the garage, because they actually will bring regulated harmful substance into the air quality of your home.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, and then if you imagine having your bedding cleaned with that particular solvent, and then you're sleeping in it, and it's one thing for a sweater or a jacket, but a comforter, how much is that absorbed, and how much is that off-gassing?
Wow, those are things that we just don't even know to even maybe ask the question.
That's right, yeah.
Right?
And they're highly regulated. I mean, indoor air quality is a very big concern with all the organizations as far as protecting human health.
Right. We just had a radon test. Well, not just. A couple of years ago, had a radon test because we have radon in our house, which we had no clue of. Right. And had to have that all addressed. So
yeah,
some just things you just don't know.
Yeah, and radon is naturally occurring. Michigan is a hot spot for radon, so that can happen just naturally coming up through your basement or crawl space, where the perc fumes, you're actually bringing them into your home. You're inviting them in.
Yeah, I love that. Maybe unknowingly,
Yeah,
right?
mostly
Right.
unknowingly. Yeah.
So the sustainability part is. Let's talk about that. Like as far as the fast fashion and what it's doing to our planet, and how the sustainability comes in. And
Sure. Well, we've become a society worldwide where we buy cheap garments, uh, and we dispose of cheap garments sometimes on a weekly or monthly basis. The average American disposes of, I think the last number I saw, about 78 pounds of clothing every year that goes to landfills. And it's mostly cheap polyester garments that were produced overseas. And these fast fashion companies, they specifically pick countries that have little to no environmental regulations and little to no humanitarian regulations. So typically they're
like
made
no labor laws.
Typically they're made by women and children that much less privileged than we are, and the factories can just dump their waste, the dyes and so on, into the local waterways and so on. And then we get them there. We get them here, and because they're so cheap, you buy it off the rack. It was, $10 or $20. You wear it, or maybe you get it and you get it home. It's like, I don't even like this, and you just toss it.
I know. I saw a statistic around that a percentage of how it was like 20 or 30% of clothes that are purchased are never actually worn.
Right. Yeah.
People buy it because it's a great bargain or whatever, and then never wear, and it ends up in the landfill.
And it's a very modern phenomenon.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's now? Is that a alpaca shawl that you're wearing?
It's mohair.
Mohair, beautiful.
Mohair and cashmere. And yes, one of my friend's mothers knit this for me.
Oh, nice.
We share a passion for knitting.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway, thank you for noticing.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Yep. I've got a merino wool. This is made by, it's a polo. It's a long sleeve. It's perfect for the wintertime. I think I paid $15 for it at the local resale shop. And I've got a wool long sleeve T-shirt underneath. And I just love these two garments, and I wear them all the time, and I just have them re-cleaned, and these will not leave my wardrobe until they are threadbare, and that'll be years and years from now.
Isn't that interesting? And one of my favorite clothing items is a cashmere sweater that I probably got, my husband got it like 25 years ago. Right? And then I actually claimed it. But you're right, and it looks great.
Right.
It looks as good now as when we got it 25 years ago.
It feels good. Doesn't have that plasticky feeling that all these synthetic fibers that are produced these days.
Right, and so we look at purchasing, just making purchases of those few items we absolutely love that are well made, that will be around. In fact, it's kind of a challenge because my body hasn't quite stayed the same size.
That happens.
Right, and so part of my self-care is working, with a functional nutritionist to get it back so that I can wear some of those pieces that will outlive me with the quality of the fiber and the fabric and stuff. So talk about, one of the things I know that Snedicor does is recycling, helping with recycling fabrics. Talk about that.
Yeah. So, like I say, tons and tons, billions of tons of garments wind up in landfills. And so I started a program 12 years ago called Cinderella's Closet.
Okay.
And that's prom gowns, because that was happening to prom gowns. And prom gowns were being, the price of a new prom gown was out of range for a lot of students, so they felt like they couldn't go to the prom. And I heard about other cleaners around the country doing something called Cinderella's Closet. So what that is we collect prom gowns that are used, that still have a good life, and then we donate those to Cinderella. The Cinderella's Closet now is actually an entity of La Casa in Howell. Yeah. We used to host it at one of our stores, and it was a boutique where young ladies and moms would come in and pick out prom gowns for $25 or free if they got a scholarship, and that little stipend would go to help fund La Casa's great efforts in the community.
Oh, how cool is that?
Yep, and since we switched to a delivery-only company, now we're picking them up from people's front doors. And it's got so successful that we actually have a donations page on our website, snedicors.com/donations, and folks can pick out the charity of their choice. So now we're partnered with not only Cinderella's Closet for prom gowns, but La Casa for regular men's and women's clothing, the Catholic Charity Center for Hope up in Flint. We do a big clothing drive with Mary Magdalene Church to send clothes up there. We have Love Inc., and we have Recycle Livingston, which is a very interesting one. So if you've ever thought, well, I want to donate some clothes, I'm just going all Marie Kondo, and I just want to get rid of some of this clutter. And then it's like, well, this isn't, who wants to wear this? This is tattered or stained or whatever. I'm just going to throw it away. Well, now Recycle Livingston actually will take any textile.
Oh my gosh.
They send it to be recycled into the batting for inside of sofas and car seats and so on. So
oh my gosh, that's
receiving
incredible.
a second life and keeping it out. Yeah. And lastly, bridal gowns. We are partnered with the Brides Project in Ann Arbor. And sometimes brides, we preserve a lot of gowns and keepsake boxes and all that, but a lot of brides are like, I'm not that attached to it. What can I do with it? Well, we'll pick it up from their front door, no charge, deliver it to the Brides Project. They resell them, and they're an arm of the American Cancer Society Ann Arbor chapter, and it helps to fund their coaching and so on of folks with cancer. Oh my gosh,
that's phenomenal, Jim. And so I'm going to recap a little bit here, okay, right? So because you are delivery only, they go to fill out a form on your website, right? Where is it?
Snedicors.com/donations.
Donations, yep. And pick the one, and then you come and pick the items up off their front porch.
Contact free. They don't have to be home or greet the driver.
And then you take care of getting it to the right organization.
And in fact, I drove a 20-foot U-Haul truck up to Flint on Monday to Catholic Charity Center for Hope with 2.5 tons of donated clothing and some shoes. And that puts us here at the end of 2022. We have taken 5 tons of clothing out of the waste stream and gotten it into the hands of charity organizations and then to people who will reuse these items.
We'll reuse it. Wow. That's a really big deal.
It's a really big deal. I've got such an awesome team. My delivery drivers, they're out there every day. They're picking up and delivering at your house and your neighbor's house, and then they're picking up at a neighbor down the street a bag of donations, and it's part of the flow.
It's part of the flow. Yeah. And you're in okay, so before we go that you're in your EV vehicle, I just want to preface that there's a lot of things. A lot of pieces here, right? Mm-hmm. So you're giving back to all these organizations, and I didn't even realize the whole thing, because there are times where you just go, this is just not worthy of donating.
Right.
But I absolutely love, but it just feels wrong to throw it in the garbage, right? Because of the landfill.
Yeah. Yep.
So what a great solution to that. But then if we come back to, and I hate the word self-care because it's gotten so overused, mm-hmm. right? But if we go back to taking care of ourselves at our core, right?
Right.
This allows us to give back in beautiful ways to the community. Mm-hmm. It allows us to get rid of the stuff that's keeping us cluttered, exactly. or our thoughts just scattered and not focused because it's clean and organized or whatever. And then also, one of the things I love is that I know that my clothes are going to be clean and fresh and ready for me when I need them.
Yep, and an environmentally friendly and healthy
Absolutely, in a healthy way, and I don't have to figure out when I'm going to get to the cleaners or when I'm going to get back. It just makes my day more stress free.
Well, here's another piece of it. As far as we only do pickup and delivery, so today we're going to service 160 customers. Okay, and so let's say one van services 80 customers, which is typical for some days. That van is going through an optimization of the route from customer to customer to customer to customer in a very efficient manner. Now imagine those 80 customers all getting into their cars and driving to the cleaners.
I never thought about that.
Driving back.
Right.
And then they have to drive back to the cleaners to pick up the order and drive back home. That's 4 trips.
Wow.
Yep.
I hadn't even thought about that. So another piece to that puzzle. And you now have your EV van. So let's talk about that for a second.
I'm pretty sure that we are the first dry cleaner in the state of Michigan to now be delivering clothes to customers in a 100% electric delivery van. This happens to be a 2023 E-Transit by Ford. And it's out right now. It's going to be taking care of 60 customers today. And it's plug-in electric, so that's that much less petrol that we're putting in, and that much less carbon dioxide and methane that we're putting into the atmosphere. And if everything goes well, next year I plan for that vehicle to be solar powered. And as the range of the EVs gets better, if the EVs were up to 200 now for delivery vehicles, I could replace all my vehicles and they could all be solar powered.
That's just amazing. So you are living, right? Living your commitment to the environment, to your customers, to yourself, to your employees. I just love that about everything. Everything about Snedicor is just so aligned and congruent with sustainability, with the environment, with your health and well-being, right?
Yep, that's right. I've always been a little bit different in the dry cleaning industry. I've had a lot of people in the industry scratch their head and said, "What's he doing now?" But I spend a lot of time in the woods. I mean, we've got big snowstorm coming and people are hunkering down and I'm ready. I'm waxing up my cross-country skis. I can't wait to get out there. And I want to take care of this beautiful planet. And a long time ago, I realized that I could have a positive effect through my business. And you look at companies like Patagonia and REI and
Allbirds and
even though I'm just a little small town dry cleaner, I can have a big effect.
You can, and you are, and it makes a big difference. And it's really all, it just really all is so congruent with living a good fat life, right?
That is correct.
That's the essence of what our purpose is, and being able to connect people. Yep. Right, and provide a platform. We're not experts in any of this, but our
community.
What we love to do is finding those people that are doing amazing things and being able to share what you do in the story with our listeners and with our subscribers. And I don't know, it makes my heart sing.
Awesome.
Right?
Well, you've done so much to pull all this together and to make it possible. I really appreciate all you've done with the magazine, and then what you've taken it so far beyond just words on paper.
Well, thank you. But it's because that's what we want to do. It's kind of like bringing it to life, right?
Right.
So on that happy note, normally, one of the things I would do is do a little shout out to Snedicor's cleaners, but we've been able to do this the whole time. So, which is so cool. And I'm just sitting here going, oh my gosh, I do have piles of things that I just can't give away and can't go in the trash. You've just elegantly solved another dilemma for me.
Right.
As we're cleaning through stuff. So if you would love to be part of our Good Fat family, go to goodfatlife.com and subscribe. We've got amazing, and the new issue that's coming out is really fun and full of lots of inspiration, motivation, but highly curated articles on healthy eating and foods and cholesterol and stuff that maybe in ways, we've got a couple of challenges for the new year. And
There's going to be an article about healthy dry cleaning.
yes, there is.
We're gonna dispel a little kind of misnomer about organic dry cleaning and what that truly means.
Oh my gosh, that word gets so overused, right?
Exactly.
And it's understood. And so please do that and check us out. And we've got some really cool events coming up. And so go live your good fat life.
Sounds good.
And thanks, Jim, so much for being here.
Well, thanks, Sherri. Really appreciate it. And keep doing what you do.
Yeah.